Hey guys, it's Jim here again with another episode of the Trail presented by Summit Fishing Equipment. Tonight we've got Dan Baker with us from Tuned Up Custom Rods. Thanks for coming on, Dan.
Yeah, you
Uh,
bet.
yeah, Dan is one of the Tuned Up Custom Rods is one of our sponsors this year. They're our rod sponsor. A couple of things that we've got going with them: our father-son team of the year and our male-female or husband-wife team of the year custom rods will be coming through Tuned Up this year. So we're excited to do that. I've also got as we're as we chat about kind of what Tuned Up's got going on, I've got a couple of demo rods with me at the MTT that you guys can check out, and we'll be giving those away throughout the year here as well. So yeah, Dan, welcome.
Thank you.
You know, we were just talking a little bit about, just very briefly before we started, that Tuned Up is making a push into the open water. I know for years Tuned Up had a great presence, still does in the ice fishing world. Matter of fact, that's still, I told you before, like the bullwhip is still my go-to favorite rod I've ever owned. But moving into open water, you guys did that a handful of years ago, and it seems we're making a push for some more of that. So let us know, tell us what you kind of got going on, and folks can ask questions here if they want.
Sure. Yeah. So, like you mentioned, Jim, our ice rod presence has been real strong for the last. This is our 15th year in business, and I personally believe that we have the best ice rods on the market, and we are excited to start bringing that same craftsmanship and passion into the open water market. Open water's so vast and so big, but it's also, when you get into the business, it's not that big of a business, and we're excited to join up and to start to branch off our offerings. Last year we came out with a new lineup of rods called the T1 series for Tier 1. It's our top of the line rod, and we were just super thrilled with the way it performed, the feedback that we got from it, and we're really excited to start to try to bring it to a larger audience. This year we've got a couple of rods in development that hopefully will be able to start coming on as the season progresses. So I'm excited. We've got some good things cooking.
Awesome. There's so many different offerings in a rod. So I know you guys do a couple of different things. So you've got your T1 series, you've got some other open water series rods. With the way guys are fishing now, a lot of guys are using rods that were always the bass rods. They're using them open water. So you guys have some of that stuff to offer. And if I want to just call the shop or stop in the shop and just have you build me a straight custom rod.
Yep. Yeah, so that's one of the things that makes us really special, is that we are a fully custom shop. So we have rods that we design in-house that we think fit a broad spectrum of purposes, and then we produce those in series. The T1 would be one of them, but then we also can do complete one-off builds for people based on anything that they'd like. We've built fly rods, we built several musky rods, we built inshore saltwater rods. If you have a need for a rod, we can make it work. We have the access to the componentry and to the different blanks and different handles and all the different things that you may be interested in, which is really pretty a fun process. For example, we just made a 3-piece open water rod, a 3-piece spinning rod that's designed to go into a backpack for a person going up to the boundary waters, because they didn't want to take up space, but they still wanted to be able to bring something that's high quality.
Right. Yeah, and you're starting to see more and more of that. If looking around, there's a lot of these travel series rods and stuff. And I guess I would have never thought to come into the shop and say, hey, can you build me a 3-piece or a 4-piece rod to put in my backpack? But anybody that's ever gone to boundary waters knows that compact is good, and a simple fishing rod gets in the way more than you would ever imagine. It's just this gangly thing in the way of everything. So yeah, that's super cool. It's been a handful of years since I built my first custom rod. Not built, but I had it built, and it's still have it. It's been pretty beat up over the years, and but it was always cool to say, I went into the shop, I told them what I wanted, and I got what I wanted. Because as fishermen, we always think, oh, what if this did this? What if this had that? Boy, if I had this blank and I had that reel seat and I had these all these things like these guides or whatever, and being able to come into the shop and still do that is super cool. And then having the I guess the quote unquote production series where you know a lot of anglers are just looking for what fits them best, and it's a good starting point for people that maybe will be a return customer, for a custom rod later once they get into one of your production rods and they're like, oh, I really like this. This is high quality. I like this, but if it did this, and then they can come back and do that. So it's really cool that you guys offer both in house. Um, Dan, where are you guys located? Where's your
So
shop?
we are located in Coon Rapids, Minnesota, right off of Highway 10. Yeah, and as you were saying, Jim, it's one of the things that makes us, I think, unique is that our custom rods and our production rods, as we say, are the same. They're the same thing. So if you order a rod from the website that's in stock, that's the exact same blank, the exact same guides, the same handle. It's produced in the same. It's all produced here with us. So you're not sacrificing anything. You just get something that's been pre-made, so you don't have the lead time for the custom
Right.
order. But if you do want to get real precise, we have some people who want a 31 and a quarter rod. We can do that. We can get real specific.
Right. Yeah, and I guess I should have said it differently, but I mean, I know where the shop is. I've been over there a couple times. It's a it's a typical rod shop. It's a smallish space with a lot going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, just so people know, it's very centrally located right in Coon Rapids. Very easy to get to. The guys over there are always super helpful. Kind of walking through it, what you need, what you want. Maybe somebody comes in and you go in and you think you want something, and you talk to the folks over at the shop, and they're like, well, this might be a better way to go about that, and really setting people up for not only what they want, but what's going to work for them. When they tell you what they're going to use it for. It's not like going to Shields and just saying, I'm going to go grab that one medium light rod. I'm going to use it for everything. I'm going to use it for crappies. I'm going to use it for walleyes. I'm going to use it for everything. Once we get species specific, technique specific, there's a lot to think about. And sometimes, the rod builder is the guy you want to ask. The experience on the water. I know that you yourself are an angler. So you have some experience on the water that you know what works, what doesn't work. So yeah, super cool. You've been out to our first couple events down on the river. We really appreciate you coming out, checking in on us, seeing what's going on, meeting our anglers. It means a lot that, you make the drive down and see everybody. And, maybe as we creep closer to Coon Rapids, maybe, why we're up on Mille Lacs or something, we can get up and do some fishing, get out and have a little bit of fun during the day as well, but yeah, I don't know, anything else you got for before we cut you loose?
I guess just the main thing is like our shop is staffed by a pretty small group of people. So if you find that the hours aren't working for you, just give us a phone call and we can be there. We can meet you. We can set up appointment requests and have somebody coming here and meet you. If you're coming during the day, you're more than likely to meet John. He's our co-founder, and he's the brains behind all the rods. He's the guy that sat there to himself and thought, what would I want to have different? And then he just had the wherewithal to actually make it happen. So talking to him he's forgotten a lot more about fishing rods than I know. So he's probably the best resource I can imagine. And then we do have some evening options. I'm here right now, actually, every Tuesday night. But yeah, we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you come out. It's open to the public. We have events here every now and again, and it's nice to get people to get in and see the build process and see all what goes into it.
Right. So interestingly enough, you said, John's one of, a co-founder of the business. How did you get involved over there?
So I was a customer, and my brother used to work with Adam, who's the other co-founder, and he knew that I liked fishing, and he recommended that I go talk to them. And so it was probably 8 or 9 years ago now. My son and I went down to the St. Paul Ice Show and met John and Adam and bought a rod. I bought a fishing rod from him. I bought a Precision. It was my first rod. And I took it out and I fished it and I loved it. And I knew that it was going to become an expensive hobby for me. So I went in and I said, hey, you guys, I'm a teacher and I've got a little bit of time in the summers and evenings. And would you like to have me come on board? And they said yes. So I came on board as a rod wrapper at first. I was one of the build people. And then over time, I transitioned into social media and mostly website stuff. And then just recently, I've been able to come on board as being a co-owner. And it's been really just kind of an awesome journey for me.
Right. I mean, I think that's a super cool story. There's a story behind everything, how things come to fruition, how things, change. And, about a year ago ish, I was in talking to John and there were some changes going on and whatever. And, there's all those stress points. And then, speaking of the St. Paul Ice Show, that's where, you and I first were able to connect and meet, via Chris Messerschmidt,
Yep.
kind of saying, hey, why don't you come over and you guys should talk. And, that's kind of how this all happens is it's at the end of the day, the fishing industry is such a big area. I tell people it's a great big beach, but the sandbox is real small.
Yeah.
Before you know it, this guy knows that guy knows that guy, and the people that really enjoy what they're doing are the people that really succeed. If you like what you're doing, and like you say with your story, you were a customer first, then you were a builder, and then you had the opportunity to be a co-owner. So I think that's just I think it's a super cool story for people to know that you're not just there's always like that when you talk to some folks, it's like, well, does this guy, is he just the owner? Is he just the guy? Is he whatever? And it's super cool. You started from buying, working your way through it, and then being co-owner. So, congrats on that achievement, that accomplishment. I mean, I'm sure business some days doesn't feel like a super great achievement, but
I mean, it's definitely a lot, but it's a lot of fun. I'm super excited to be part of MTT this year. I've got so much to learn from you guys. I was down at pool 4, a couple weeks before your first tournament. And when I came down to Mississippi 2 weeks later and watched the numbers that you guys were pulling in, I thought, I'm going to have to drive to a lot of these and start picking some brains, because the skill in the anglers is just phenomenal. And I definitely have a lot that I can improve on.
Oh, same. I will never take credit for the group of people that fish with us. A lot of these guys have been fishing this circuit for a lot of years before I came on board, and before Relevant purchased the trail. But what I can tell you is we have a group of extremely humble, great anglers that they're always willing to chat and give you some pointers, do some things. We forward facing sonar, we had a couple of folks that were struggling with some things. We had some of our top guys were just like, well, okay, let's get in your boat. Let's get in your boat. Let's run your electronics. Let's see what you're doing. I'll show you what I'm doing. And then the light bulbs start to come on. They're like, oh man, so when you're down, up, wherever we're at for a tournament, you're around, just pick the guys' brains. The guys and gals that fish with us are super good, super cool people, and they're always willing to lend a hand. Last year, we had an angler that needed a partner, and Waylon got my son Waylon. You've met Waylon.
Mhm.
Got a chance to jump in a boat for a weekend and fish with somebody, and like it's a year later, and that's absolutely one of his highlights. Um, the anglers that we fish with out there, treat us like family for the most part, and vice versa. So yeah, next time we see you, pop in anytime. You've got the schedule, and yeah, get to know some of the guys and gals and pick their brain. And at one point, we'll get out and get fishing in between takeoff and weigh-in.
I'm planning on being up on Sunday on Winnie,
Okay,
so I'm excited to see that. Saturday I have to help my mother-in-law get her pontoon boat in the water, but planning on being up there for Sunday.
awesome. Yeah, we will definitely be there. We'll probably be in parkas the way it sounds. I don't know what this weather's all about.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
going from like 95 to 50.
yeah.
Less than awesome, I guess, but we're still going to be there. We're still going to do the thing and have some fun.
It's gonna be good.
Awesome. Well, I know you're at the shop. I can let you get back to what you're doing, and I'm going to just do some announcements and some updates here. But really appreciate you jumping on, and
Appreciate it.
yeah, for sure. Chris Thielen says, "See you there, Dan." Chris will be
All
up
right,
this weekend from Target Walleye as well,
all right.
hanging out with us,
Look
doing
forward to
the
seeing
thing.
you.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of fun. All right.
All right. Thanks,
Awesome.
Jim.
Yep,
Appreciate it.
thanks, Dan. All right. So yeah, thanks Dan for coming on with us and chatting about what they're doing. You guys know we're always seeking great sponsorships and partnerships. Another Minnesota born bred raised company. So it's super cool to work with those guys, and be able to offer some of their products. They do have a product code that's been sent out. It will get sent out here again at the end of the week to our new members that have just registered since our last email blast went out. And as well as a couple other discount codes that are coming from other sponsors. So um, again, thank you to all of our sponsors. We can't do what we're doing without them. With that, Winnebagosh, we are at Denny's this weekend. The practice tournament for the MTT is up on Fish Donkey. If you need to get some practice on that. It used to say MTT test. I changed it to say MTT practice. It has the logo and stuff on it. And then the other two tournaments for the weekend are there. If you haven't used this format with us before now, the tournaments will turn on 7 o'clock on the nose as we're doing send off. So 7 o'clock, the tournament will be live. You'll be able to choose it and get into it prior, but you won't be able to enter anything. It won't say weigh a fish. It'll just kind of be there. And then we will ask for a check-in photo, just like we did down on the river. So some of you guys that are coming from the river and coming up, this will be old news, but we'll go through it again at rules. So 7 o'clock, the app will open, or the tournament itself will open on the app. Your first picture that you send in will be a check-in photo of your boat number. There's a spot to call it check-in photo under species. If you miss that, we can move it over, not a big deal. Then the tournament will be open to weigh your best 5. Weigh as many fish as you need, take as many pictures as you need. It will auto call, so you will not have to worry about picking your best 5. It will do that for you. And then the app will shut off at 3:30. At 3:30, you will no longer be able to enter fish. However, check-in at the trailer is at 4 o'clock. Everybody must be checked in at the trailer by 4 o'clock. At that time, when you check in, we will ensure that all your fish have uploaded properly. If for some reason they haven't uploaded properly, they'll be on your phone. We'll have them. There's nothing to worry about. Nobody is going to lose fish that didn't get submitted. If you take the picture on your phone, you will have it and we will have it. So that's the gist of it. We still have, I've had a handful of phone calls over the week with some questions about the Winnie tournament, making sure of a couple of things. If that's you and you have not yet registered and said you would be registering, just remember we want to get you registered by Thursday. If for some reason there's some unforeseen reason that you can't register by Thursday, please reach out to me ahead of time. Let me know what's going on. Let me know what's happening so that we can get everybody on the board, get everybody registered appropriately so that we can do our boat draw on Friday night. And then we'll do, it's 2 single-day tournaments. We'll do a boat draw on Friday night at Rules for Saturday. Saturday at 5 o'clock, we will do awards. After awards, we will announce boat numbers for Sunday. Okay, so you will have 2 separate boat numbers from Friday to Saturday. Each day is random. We don't carry over. We've got some new folks fishing up on Winnie with us this weekend. So we'll get them mixed in, have them follow the crowd. I think everybody will have a great time. Unfortunately, I can't control the weather. If I could, it would be a little nicer than it's going to be. But it is Minnesota, and they're wrong about 70% of the time. So let's hope they're wrong to our benefit, so that it's not as cold as they say it's going to be. It has changed a few times. So with that being said, I hope everybody had a great, safe opener and are looking forward to coming up to Winnie. I know there's some guys up there pre-fishing already. I haven't heard much back. I've gotten some stuff through Fish Donkey that has gone really well. So thanks for sending those in. That's what that practice tournament is for. Remember, if you practice with the tournament, you want to ensure that something went through correctly or your pictures were good. Submit them, give me a call, and then I'll go find them and look at them, and get everybody dialed in for this Saturday. So excited to kick off the lake part of the season. We did the river. Now we're moving north to the lakes, and we've had an interesting May so far. I don't know that I ever remember a May when it was 95 degrees outside. So I know the bite is different. The weather's been different. The water temps are different than we're used to at this time of the year. So I think we're in store for an interesting weekend. I think we'll have a lot of fun. If you guys have any questions between now and Friday, give me a call. I'll be heading up to Denny's Friday morning. I will surely be there I'll be there for sure by noon. So if anything comes up, if you need to swing by the trailer, we'll be there by noon and be set up for Rules at 6. All right, until next week or until Saturday, we will see you guys then.